Hello, Tanzania. Hello, everyone. As it was mentioned, I'll be presenting on material tools, Jetpack components, and my experience on using these tools to build an Android app that really solves a community problem. Uh, my name is Anselmo Chandre. I'm from Mozambique. I work on the company called Biliteira Incorporation, and I'm currently working on biliteira.co.mz app. You can find me on social media using Call Me Anselmo handle. So cool. It seems like it's a while back ago, but in IO 2018, Google announced lots of tools that, for me, these tools really changed how we as Android developers design and develop our apps. I'm talking about tools like Jetpack libraries, Android X, Constraint Layout 2.0, app bundles, and in Google I/O 2019, Android development became Kotlin first, like it became the Kotlin language became the first to, to be used to develop the Android app. One question that I really asked myself, seeing all these cool new features being announced, it was like, okay, but how can I use all these guidelines, all these tools, pack them together to build an Android app? In this talk, I'll be sharing with you guys a really use case called billetera.mz. That this is an Android app that it's being used here in Mozambique to help people that need to travel across Mozambique, book their bus ticket in a simple, fast, and then secure way. I'll be using this example to show you guys how I used all these cool new features to build an Android app. So for me, the first step that I took, it was to find a problem and provide a solution. As a startup founder, and most of the startup founders, when they provide a solution for some problem, it's because most of them they suffered from they suffered something, and then they decided like, okay, I suffered this problem, and then I have to provide a solution for this, because many people can be like suffering the same problem. So for me, I just wanted to travel from Maputo to Beira, where I was studying, and I didn't have any way to book a bus ticket back then. So I thought like, okay, many more people can be suffering from this same problem. So I decided to build an app that helps people in need of traveling book their bus ticket effortlessly. The second step that I took, it was to build an MVP to validate and test the market, to test if the customers or the people that I'm targeting this app, they really need this solution. After I built an MVP, I I I had a lot of feedbacks from people using the app, so I redesigned the app and scaled. So in this process of trying to build a solution to the community, the first step that I took, it was to choose the color palettes to my app. These are the colors that I use for branding in the Billeter app. I divided these with on two on two on two colors, like major colors and minor colors. Major colors are the colors that I use for primary colors, secondary colors. These are the main branding colors. And then minor colors are the colors that I use for things like text, icons, and so on. So after I decided like which are the colors for my app, I went and decided to use a color tool. This is a tool that really shows you how your app will look like when you apply your branding colors. So this will be our first code lab that I will show you how we can use this color tool. So I'll just go to material.io, and then okay, just go to material.io, resources.color, and here you can see the lots of colors that Material Design provided, and with its variation. For me, I just use it like in the primary colors. I use a teal color with 500 variation. Here you can see that you can see a primary color and then its variation, like the light variation and the dark one. The same things applies on the secondary color. Other thing that you can see here is these colors that you can use on top of the primary and secondary colors. And coming here, you can see different look on your app when you apply these colors. Coming here to accessibility, you can actually see how these colors can be applied on top of these primary colors for readability and so on. Cool. Let's go back to the presentation. After I saw how my app will look like when I apply these colors, my branding colors, I went up and decided to use a material design. So to use a material design rather than the old supported design library, I added the dependence to my Gradle file. So after that, this is the main theme to the app, which extends from theme.material components library. So if you are still using the old design support library, I think you are often use it to see like color attributes like color primary, color primer dark, color accent. But here in material design, here in MDC, there are new attributes. There are new attributes like material, attributes like color primary variant, which you can use which is the variant color of the primer, which can be like light or dark. And then you can see also a new attribute, which is called color on primer. This color on primer, it's a color that you can use for text or icons on top of your primary color. The same applies to the secondary colors. You can also see here in my base theme that I still use the attribute from all design support library, which is Android color background. One thing that you have to know is that even in the material component, some widgets are still rely on the old support design to be themed. So you have to include Android color background to theme your background colors on your widgets. Some new attributes you can be seen here. It's a color surface that I use to things like cards or bottom sheets. And then you can also see here a attribute that I also use on top of these surfaces. After that, after I applied the base theme of my app, I went and decided to with what typography I'm going to use on the app. I didn't want to use the standard library, the standard typography that Android Studio project gives us, which is Roberta. I wanted something different. So I went to Google Fonts and then searched a font that I really like. The font that I use in my app is called Rajani. And it's an XML downloadable font that you can include on your Android Studio project. I will show you how you can use these on your Android Studio project. Okay, so just go to fonts, to Google Fonts, and then search your fonts that you like. I will just search for mine. It's called Rajani. And then after that, you just select the one variation that you want and download it. After you download it, you have to add in your Android Studio project. You can add it using something called font provider, or you can just download it and then add directly to your rest.font directory in your Android Studio project. After I decided the typography of my app, here you can see it's an XML font that I downloaded from the Google Font, and then I just added to my rest.font directory. You can also add other types of files like TTPF or TPF files into your rest.font directory. Okay, after I included the typography that I wanted to use in my app, I just inside the base theme, I just linked the font to theme all the app, all the entire app, like all the text on the buttons and the text fields will be themed on this typography. Okay, next thing that I use it's icons. I wanted the icons to use in the app. So I decided to go to the material design icons to search for icons that I wanted to use in my app. I will also show you how you can use these icons inside your Android Studio project. Okay, just go to material.io, resources, icons, and then here you can search what icons you want to use. Imagine we want to use this accessibility count. We just select it, and then here you can choose from one of these themes here, like the rounded, outlined, and so on. So these icons, you can either use them on your Flutter apps, web apps, and Android, also iOS. Here you can also choose your color that you want. If you are going to use these icons for Android, I recommend using an XVG file because you can use one resource in the multi-dimension. You can use an Android Studio tool to import this SVG file that you downloaded, which is very useful. So after the icons, I came to the process of building my app. So in the building process, I used a Kotlin and some components of Jetpack library like live data, view model, navigation, data binding, and lots more. So for this, for the code, I will just invite you to check out on my GitHub account and then see how I implemented these tools, these features on the app. If I'm available to explain and guide you guys on how I use these tools. Other thing, you can download Billetera app. It's available on the Google Play, where you can see how I themed the app, how I use it, most of these tools in the app. And then I'm available also to explain or to guide you how I use it and how I themed this app. So we are almost done, and I just want to finish saying that I really believe a community it's a vital part for career development. What I mean by this, people starting this development journey have to engage with groups like GDG and so on, and then so that they can learn from people like you guys from Tanzania with lots of experience, and then share how you guys, your experience on developing apps and so other things. So thanks for all for attending this talk. My name is Anselmo Ashande, and bye-bye.
Thank you, Anselmo, so much for the talk. Let's see if we have any questions from any of the attendees. Guys, if you have any questions, please, you can ask now. So we have a question from Mohammed Mneta. What are the pros and cons of using Kotlin instead of Java in Android development?
Okay, so I think using Kotlin is you have a lot of advantages, like you can leverage from readability and then less code. I think in Kotlin you can write what you used to write in Java. What you used to write in Java, 5 lines you can only you can write it in Kotlin using only 1 line, and then it's much better using Kotlin, and you can understand it very quickly. And then in Android development, I just like it because it really helps me like reduce the time that I use it to write the same stuff in Java. I use it to write a lot of files, and then in Kotlin, you can just write it in much shorter way.
Thank you for that. Thank you. So I guess we do not have any more questions from here. Thank you so much, Anselmo, for joining the Tanzania.
Bye, Tanzania.
Okay. See you.